Good afternoon, enthusiasts, and oh my gosh, wow, I have not done a roller coaster review since April, which is unacceptable. Every single summer, I ride new roller coasters that I never talk about, but that's going to change because if I want to call myself a real roller coaster reviewer, I'm going to have to put my butt into gear and start cranking out these roller coaster reviews left and right ASAP. But first, I need to find my hat. Come on, where is it? Oh! Oh, I have quite the addiction, don't I? Whew! Alright, here's a list of all the roller coasters I've yet to review. This is going to be hell. Alright, let's see here, where do I start? I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by this. How about I pick a random roller coaster? Hopefully it's a roller coaster I actually care about. Sure, why not? Today, I'm reviewing Intimidator at Carowinds because I don't know when else I would do it. I mean, there are so many great roller coasters that I need to review, like one in particular. Yeah, still working on that one. But Intimidator holds a special place in my heart because it was my first and so far the only B&M Hyper I've ever been on. I know, it's crazy. I've been a roller coaster enthusiast for 4 years and I just now rode my first B&M Hyper recently. You have to understand that all the B&M Hypers in America are on the eastern side of the country. Now, I've been on a few hypercoasters before, some better than others, but I really wanted to see what the B&M Hyper was all about because a wise man at Cedar Point once told me you can't go wrong with a B&M Hyper. So, just recently, a few weeks ago, I got to experience Intimidator at Carowinds, and I love this ride. It's very simple, but it does a great job of what it's supposed to do. It's no secret that Carowinds has had a lot of success this past decade, but all of that success was because of Intimidator. If Intimidator wasn't the successful ride it was, I don't think Carowinds would be the same as it is today. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's talk about how this roller coaster came to be in the first place. It all started in 2006 when Cedar Fair bought the 5 Paramount parks off of CBS. Kane's Island, Kane's Dominion, Canada's Wonderland, California's Great America, and of course, Carowinds. This was a big deal for Cedar Fair because prior to this, the company acquired 6 parks one by one over the span of about 3 decades. Then bam! 5 new parks. And back in the day, these Paramount parks looked like a hodgepodge of quality if I do say so myself. I mean, there were some good roller coasters, sure, but for every good roller coaster, you also had 5 bad ones. Cedar Fair needed to spruce up these parks' coaster lineups, so Cedar Fair decided to close the park. Okay, this wasn't the main reason why Geauga Lake closed, but I think Cedar Fair saw the roller coasters at this park and they found a much cheaper way to build new roller coasters at the newly acquired parks. In 2007, Kane's Island received X-Flight, renamed Firehawk, and a year later in 2008, Kane's Dominion got Dominator, a B&M floorless coaster, and what did Carowinds get? Flying Cobras, Vekoma Boomerang. Yay. Yeah, this was just a filler coaster. It wasn't meant to be the park's new headlining attraction, rather, it was meant to boost up season pass sales for a year. It's actually a good thing that Cedar Fair played it safe with Carowinds this time around, because 2008 wasn't really the best year for the economy. The amusement park industry was hit hard, because people just couldn't afford to go to parks as much as they wanted to. However, up north in Canada, Cedar Fair was going to install a brand new hypercoaster for Canada's Wonderland, and it was going to be built by the renowned manufacturer B&M. Behemoth opened at Canada's Wonderland in 2008, and it was a sensation. Not only was this roller coaster really reliable and had great capacity, but everyone loved this roller coaster. It didn't matter if you were a hardcore roller coaster enthusiast or just a casual park goer. Everyone loved this thing. After Behemoth, Cedar Fair wanted to replicate that roller coaster's success. So in 2009, they ordered a second B&M Hyper, this time for Kings Island, called Diamondback. It was fundamentally the same thing as Behemoth, but this one had a splashdown section, ooh la la. 2010 rolls around and Cedar Fair has two massive roller coaster projects. One was an Intimidator going to King's Dominion, and the other was a B&M Hyper going to Carowinds. The main reason why King's Dominion was selected for the Intimidator is because nearby, there was competition with Busch Gardens Williamsburg. That park already had a B&M Hyper, so Cedar Fair wanted to one-up them with an Intimidator. On April 2nd, 2010, Intimidator 305 opens at King's Dominion, and it was a flop. Yeah, from a business perspective, I-305 didn't perform as well as Cedar Fair had hoped. I mean, roller coaster enthusiasts still love this thing, but it had some problems its opening year, and the general public just didn't like this roller coaster. It was too intense, and the high G-forces led to some riders blacking out. Meanwhile, at Carowinds, it was a completely different story. On March 27th, 2010, Intimidator, not 305, opens at Carowinds, and it was a home run for the park. Just like Behemoth and Diamondback, and pretty much all the other B&M Hypers, Intimidator was loved by everyone. This roller coaster was just a big success, and it kickstarted a very prosperous decade for Carowinds. And for many roller coaster enthusiasts, Intimidator put Carowinds on the map. So I think it's safe to say that Intimidator saved Carowinds. Like, if it wasn't for Intimidator's success, I don't think we would have seen Fury 325 or Copperhead Strike, or really any big investment at Carowinds. So I think Carowinds owes a lot of its success to Intimidator. But that roller coaster came out like 12 years ago. It's old right now, so how does this roller coaster hold up now? Well, we're gonna find out, because right now I'm going to review this coaster based off my personal experience and opinion, so let's do it. Alright, first off, first impressions, and Intimidator looks quite good, I must say. I really do like that red color scheme, it really grabs your attention. This roller coaster does look impressive, but if it wasn't for Fury 325 just dwarfing this coaster, I think it may have looked a bit more impressive before Fury, but hey, it still looks quite good, and it spans pretty much half the park. It's a pretty big roller coaster, I must say. Also, this roller coaster's entry plaza looks really great. I love it. There's some theming elements here, like a replica of Dale Earnhardt's stock car. Yes, this roller coaster is themed to NASCAR legend Dale Earnhardt, who famously went by the nickname The Intimidator. And hey, that's the roller coaster's name. I like this name. It's a great name for a hypercoaster, and it obviously ties in with the theming and the man who inspired this ride, so I like it. You walk up to the station and you take a seat on the B&M staggered seated trains. You buckle your seatbelts and the operator will pull down the oh so wonderful B&M clamshell restraints. I love these restraints. They are so comfortable. Seriously, I could wear this thing all day. It was that comfortable. The B&M clamshell is definitely up there with the Intamin T-Bar as my favorite roller coaster restraint. As you dispatch, you hear a very low energy old man's voice saying, anyways, you start climbing the 232-foot tall lift hill. To your right is a beautiful view of Carowinds, and to your left is just a boring parking lot. Yeah, I feel like most hypercoasters have the exact same view. Like, on this side is a beautiful, bright, sprawling amusement park, and on this side is a gray, depressing hunk of asphalt that you pay 20 bucks to park in. Now you're face to face with the first drop, and this drop is excellent. It's pretty steep, and if you're sitting in the back row, you get some great photo airtime. For those of you in the front, sorry, not much airtime, but you do feel every bit of this roller coaster's top speed of 75 miles per hour. Soon after that, you rise up into an airtime hill slash turn slash I don't know what to call this thing. You see, the first half of this element is basically your typical airtime hill, but the second half, you bank, slate right, and you're back down. I'm not complaining about this part because if you're in the front row, you get some weak floater entering this element, and if you're in the back row, sorry, there's not any airtime. Believe me, I rode this roller coaster multiple times in the back, and I don't recall any airtime in this moment. But you do get some whip on the way back down. After that, you come up into the bread and butter of B&M Hypers, the airtime hill. And, oh, wait a sec, what is that? Is that a trim brake I see? Don't worry about it. This trim brake barely even touches the train, and in my experience, it does not hurt the airtime at all. So crisis averted. The floater airtime on this hill is fantastic. If you're in the front row, you get some great floater airtime entering this hill, and if you're in the back row, you get some great floater airtime exiting this hill. Following that, Intimidator slithers through a turnaround, and oh boy, is this turnaround just okay. It's pretty, I'll give it that, but actually riding this roller coaster, man, is this element forceless. It does the job though. Fundamentally, Intimidator is an out and back roller coaster, so a simple turnaround is to be expected. Next up is an airtime hill, but not just any airtime hill, an airtime hill with a trim brake of course. Unlike the first trim brake, which was pretty much harmless, this one actually does trim the train a little bit. Thankfully though, the airtime on this hill is still great, it's just not to its maximum potential. Again, if you're towards the front, you get some great floater airtime at the start of this hill, and if you're towards the back, you get some great floater airtime towards the end of the hill. Then, guess what's next? Another airtime hill. Repeat after me now. Riders towards the front will get great floater airtime entering this hill, and riders in the back will get great floater airtime exiting this hill. There will be a test. Following that, we come up into the mid-course brake run, which does trim the train a fair bit, but it's nowhere nearly as bad as Wild Thing or especially Titan. Alright, then we go into a helix. This is pointless. I mean, this helix has zero force on it, and it just kind of feels like filler because right after the helix is the final brake run. I get why there's a mid-course. It's to allow this roller coaster to operate at maximum capacity, but why is it so close to the final brake run? Some other Cedar Fair B&Ms have a very similar finale. It's a mid-course brake run, helix, and then you're basically done. It's kind of hard to complain about this because the helix does technically extend the ride time, so I'll give Cedar Fair a pass on this one, but they better not do it again. I shouldn't have said that. Again, I get why there's a mid-course, but if you're going to have it this late into the roller coaster's layout, you might as well just make the final brake run longer to fit an extra block zone in, and then have this area be a powerful double up for a great finale, but no, it had to be a forceless helix. Okay, moving on, after the helix, your ride's basically done because you pop up into the final brake run, completing your ride experience on Intimidator. So, final thoughts. Well, Intimidator has the job of being a tall, fast, airtime-packed machine, and it does that job well. Sure, there are some forceless elements, and there are trim brakes here and there, but this ride makes up for that by having some excellent floater airtime. So the final score is 8.2 out of 10. This ride is good, but there's quite a few other roller coasters that I think are better in my opinion, but with all of that said, Intimidator is a great example of how a classic hypercoaster should be, and I fully recommend this roller coaster to anyone. It's guaranteed to put a big smile on your face. I did it. I reviewed a roller coaster. Right, we're making progress, guys. Wait. I just rode a Puku air coaster the other day. I am never going to get through this, am I? Alright, I have to get this like in one take, because this is going to be like the hardest part of the skit, I think. Okay, this is not a trash can, this is a recycling can. I would never go in a trash can. Get out. No!